The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Greetings and welcome once again to WPRO, the voice of Southern New England. I'm Dave Clifton, happy to be the host. This show's been on the air for about 15 years, and we like to talk about the good things that are happening in local communities and beyond. Our reach is Southern New England, and of course that includes the entire state of Rhode Island, southeastern Massachusetts, and of course we cover parts of Connecticut as well. So today, folks, you can hear us on AM 630 or FM 99.7. We are indeed a cumulus station. And of course, today we have some good things to talk about as usual. We're going to talk about community access television. Lots of communities have this kind of privilege to be able to have a community TV station where they can promote all kinds of activities and programs. My guests today are from ECAT, Easton Community Access Television, here in Massachusetts. I have with me Kim Pincus. She is the executive director of ECAT. And we also have an employee of hers, Adam Carreiro. He is the director of community media. And of course, they work with a board of directors. Let me thank you both for joining us here on WPRO radio here in Providence, Rhode Island. And Kim, how long have you been the executive director?
I think it's getting close to 3 years now.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Time flies. It goes by pretty fast, especially when you guys are so busy. But I heard that you folks are trying to go to the legislators here in the Commonwealth to try to get some help and support. Maybe you could tell us what you're looking for, and we'll let the folks out there know that are listening. And of course, you're going to televise this broadcast as well. And it's a good way for people to find out what's going on.
Well, I think the credit goes to Mass Access for trying to make this effort happen. But what they're trying to do is get a bill through the state to modernize the funding for community media. Right now, we're funded through cable revenue. As we all know, cable is declining. So we're looking to get funding through streaming revenue. And so what's going through the state right now is a bill called an Act to Modernize Funding for Community Media Programming. And what we're looking for people to do is contact your legislator and let them know that that's something that you would like to support.
So folks out there that are listening and watching, we are televising our radio show. Not in Providence today, but we are at the Easton studio where ECAT is located. Also joining us, Adam Carreiro. He, as I mentioned earlier, is the director of community media. What does that job? It sounds like a pretty important position. Tell us what you actually do, Adam.
So the title's kind of a broad, because it's all basically community environment. But basically it's more getting staffing, scheduling for us to cover the events in town. So it's helping out with the sports coverage, any of the coverage for the concerts, and also just helping out with another director that we have, Joe Taft, which is the director of productions here at ECAT. Between him, myself, and Kim, helping out with producing shows, not just that ones that we come up and run ourselves, but anybody in the community that wants to have their own show. So we have a couple of different variety of shows that are run by local people in Easton. They come up with a concept of the show, and we're just kind of helping them produce it and make it. So really just the technical side, but there's a few shows that we have that are community driven.
And Kim, you work with the board of directors. Tell us about the board. Who are they? And they folks that live in the community and represent different areas of the community.
Yeah, so we have a great board of directors. They all either live in Easton or are Easton natives. And they do a great job in helping figure out the direction we want to go and how to best support people. Our chair is Paul DiNicola. And we also have Howard Miller, and they were both founding members of ECAT in the first place. And then we have Nancy DeLuca, who's our school committee representative. We have Jonathan Caleri, who's the representative from the town. And we have Pam Borblay, who works for the Children's Museum, and people might know her around town because she does so many graphics for so many events.
How about Paul DiNicola? He's the chair.
He is the chair.
Yeah. And I want to say to the folks out there that may be either listening or watching this broadcast / television production, that lots of communities have their own community access TV stations. But a lot of us don't realize how important they are in terms of communication in the town or city. And especially here in southern New England, it's a great communication tool. Mm-hmm. And of course, they almost have to fight for their funding. And I think it's so important that we realize this is a good thing. We're able to let people know in the community what's going on. I think of someone who might be disabled, Kim, who cannot get out and go to a meeting, but they can actually see it. As you folks produce it.
Yeah, I think that's one area that's important. And then also, for parents, if you can't be at every kid's game and things because you're working, you can watch them live or you can watch the recordings. Everyone can learn all about their town government. We have a weekly news show. There's a lack of local news in most towns. So it's a great way to be aware of things that are going on that I don't think there are a lot of other resources for.
And when I think of the community TV stations that are located, especially here in Bristol County and also Norfolk County, they have the way of being able to get the word out, and a lot of them don't have local newspapers anymore. Mm-hmm. And this is the way that they can get the word out. And it's all kinds of things, Adam. I think of government meetings. I think of athletic events, school varsity sports. You have an opportunity to cover all kinds of things. And how does it happen? Does someone come to you and request it? And then you honor it and have volunteers that cover it? Who does the camera work? Who sets everything up? Tell us about it. What does someone do if they want to bring a program and put it on TV?
So one avenue, somebody could email us and request it. And some of it is also staff driven. Like if we have staff that's willing to see what's going on and covering events. So we find out what events are happening and we make the choice ourselves between somebody might not even really ask us to cover it, but we cover it to help them either broadcast their event for people to know that organization's doing it, or just to see, like you said, sports. Sometimes we get other towns that either don't have the funding or the capability to cover sports, or they're just willing just to show our broadcast just so school that Easton Olive Rames is playing, they can see their team still play or their kids still play in a game that's not home.
It's
We've
terrific,
had-
and they not only do that, but they get an opportunity to get a copy of the tape, and it's like a library that they could have at home. Something to look at as the kids grow up and go off to college.
And it's all archived. So when they're adults, they can look back on it with their kids too. Even if we cease to exist, there'll still be an archive of everything that we've covered.
Now, where do you get the equipment? I see being in the ECAT studio here in the town of Easton, Massachusetts, you got all kinds of TV screens and all kinds of equipment to put a show together. I'm in a room now that is a great radio broadcast area that can be televised. You can have people on Zoom. You can do all that flexibility. Do you get your funds from Verizon and Comcast? Tell us about that, Kim.
We do. We get our funding from Comcast and Verizon, and we also get a small amount from sponsorships. But from Comcast and Verizon, we've had we get our operational funding and also our capital funding. So it's our capital funding that's allowed us to have the main studio and upgrade that to be able to be hybrid so that you can have, Zoom guests, that sort of thing. The same with this studio here. And then we also have 2 rooms at Town Hall, and we've outfitted the high school auditorium. So
now, if there are folks out there in the community that want to make a financial contribution, is that permitted? Is it allowable? And it might be something that folks out there in the town or city where you have community access TV, you might want to think about making a donation. And there are people out there that make donations, but they want to see it go beyond just what they're donating. And what better way to do that than to donate some money that could finance some of the things that you folks do. You talk about the dollar really traveling on the air. It brings in good results. So who would they make a check out to? And is that permissible for us to let the audience out there know that you would appreciate any donation that folks could make?
yes, of course, we're always grateful for donations. You can make a check out to ECAT or Easton Community Access Television. Either name is fine. Or we have our website has a link to make donations as well. And if you donate over $15, we have our little ECAT, which is a plush cat that you get.
That's terrific. And what would you say to folks out there, not so much the donation, folks that want to kind of come up with their own program, they want to produce it, and they want to go on the air. Is there any kind of training that goes on, or do you just let them run with it?
We can let them run with it if they want. Some hosts just want to host the show, like they don't have that technical side. So we can help them from start to finish. Like they don't need to come in here and no knowledge of TV if they just want to, if they have an idea for a show. We help them at all stages or any of the stages that they need help with. They can go to our website, eastoncat.org, and send us an email with an idea, and we can try to pitch it some way. And also with the donations too, like some towns, cable access are supported by a town, but we're a nonprofit. So really the only funding that we are getting is from Comcast and Verizon. The town is very helpful with us and supportive of us, but we don't get any funding from the taxpayers or the town itself.
I've been very impressed because I live in the community, and I've seen some people doing shows. I think of this young guy, I think his name is Jack Ryan. Very impressive. He has a smile on his face all the time, and he articulates well. And then I see a senior adult who does a terrific job. I'm talking about Priscilla. Mm-hmm. These are folks that have been doing some shows, and they've gained the experience. But young Jack, what's his background?
So Jack has graduated. I'm trying to think of the school. I can't remember what college, but he went to school for TV, for broadcasting, and now he works for ABC down in Providence in their news department, doing different things, editing and logging stuff.
Well, he certainly is familiar with WPRO, that's for sure. But we're going to take a short break. I'm talking with Kim Pincus, the executive director of a community access TV station. They call it ECAT, Easton Community Access Television. And also joining us, Adam Carreiro, the director of community media. Hurry back, folks.
There's a storm.
Join me, Priscilla Almquist-Olsen, to explore the town of Easton and its interesting, engaging, ordinary, and extraordinary people, and meet a smorgasbord of guests, including artists, authors, musicians, business owners, community organizations, clergy, local leaders, etc., etc., etc. Community Forum at 3 p.m. on Thursdays and 1:30 p.m. on Saturdays. See you then.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of For the Love of Words.
After a 3-year hiatus, join me, John Holgerson, and
Priscilla Almquist-Olsen,
as we interview poets and musicians.
Could you give the audience a little summary of your background as a child?
When I turned 7 or so, we were car bombed. That stuck out.
And have them share their love of words.
Sometimes I wonder, do you ever think of me?
A thin broth of moonlight caught in the trees spreads across the garden brush, so one side of every stick shimmers while the other sides melt into one another, a mass grave of cherry, pear, and pine.
For the Love of Words at 7 p.m. on Thursdays.
In 2023, Easton is a tight-knit community of 25,000 people. But with the hustle and bustle of modern life, it's easy to forget our past. A time when Easton's population was 6,000.
Everybody knew who everybody was.
And there was respect.
There was respect for everyone.
When kids enjoyed great freedom and independence.
Everybody was poor at today's standards, but we all were in the same boat and we enjoyed life.
So join me, Priscilla Almquist-Olsen, as I explore what makes Easton so very special with some of its lifetime residents.
I think Easton has so much to offer, and if you're living in a community, you have to know it.
Watch Growing Up in Easton Tuesdays at 7 p.m. and Friday at 9 p.m. See you then.
Hi there, I'm Gail Devins, and join me as we discover all the businesses that made Easton great. This is a wonderful, wonderful place. I cannot wait. I want to do it. I want to go there. I am definitely coming back, and I know you will too, because I'm telling you something. It is absolutely amazing in here. What a wonderful way to discover Easton. It's right here in Easton. Showing at noon on Mondays, 2 p.m. on Tuesdays, and 11 a.m. on Fridays, only on ECAT.
Welcome back to Service Matters, and indeed service does matter. And we're talking today about the service of community access television. That most communities have their own TV station, and they're able to spread the good things that are going on throughout a community. As someone who works with WPRO, the voice of Southern New England, I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the radio station that comes under the umbrella of Cumulus Media. We'd like to thank ECAT for their continued cooperation with the radio station. I've been able to do the radio show out of your TV studio, Kim, and it saves me a trip to Providence. There are sometimes my guests like to see the radio station studio and get a little tour, but it's been absolutely terrific how electronics can make it possible to do the show. And without you being at the radio station, we're able to give a pat in the back to the folks who lead the way here, along with their board of directors and their chair, Paul DiNicola. And it's terrific what you've been able to do in your community, but it takes funds to be able to make community access continue and to work. So I put a little plea out there, not just to Comcast and Horizon to continue to support ECAT, Easton Community Access Television, but there may be folks here that live in the community, live in the town, enjoy what's going on. We'd like to have you consider the possibility of supporting a group like this, because they do nothing but pass the word out so everybody in town knows what's going on. And hats off to them for being able to bring to the living rooms of people that live in the town. And there may be some people out there that have accessibility concerns, and we want to make sure that they know what's going on. Can you imagine having a disability and can't get out to a public meeting, but you can at least see it and learn what's going on, and you can also participate in it as a result of you setting up Zoom. So I say to you folks, congratulations. And I say to the people that may be watching or listening, support your community access TV station in your town or city. How about some of the programs that you actually cover, Kim? There's lots. I know you're not going to be able to mention everything, but some of the ones that you'd certainly like to recognize.
Of course. We had over 1,500 programs in the past year, so there's more than we can name. But I think what's worth mentioning, we cover all of the varsity home games for the high school sports. We cover most government meetings. We mentioned that any resident can have a show about anything that they want, and to name some of those, we have Community Forum, which is a discussion of just about different things happening in town. We have Cooking with Claudia, so a cooking show. We have some more sort of fun talk style shows like the Ron Van Dam show and The Show. We have crafting shows. We have a local fiber workshop does a show. There's so many community members who do shows. The library does a ton of programs.
And it's amazing with all the things that you're doing that you're able to squeeze in the town's 300th anniversary celebration. And of course, I'm familiar with that. You not only cover the meetings that they've had, and they've had over 50 plus meetings, because the Town of Easton is celebrating their 300th anniversary during the year 2025. That year has officially arrived. They've already had their first event, which you folks covered. at Stonehill College. We called it the kickoff event, and about 2,500 people were in attendance for that. And there's another thousands of people that were able to see it on TV as you covered it. And you have made a commitment, and you folks are on the committee, you've made a commitment to cover all the events that are going out during the year. And it's amazing. That means getting people to come with their cameras to cover it. It takes time to set up, it takes time to break down. And folks making a donation to the cause certainly is money well spent. This is not just a show to do a fundraiser, but I'm bringing it up because I can see the kind of work that you folks do to make communication a tool that can be long remembered. But I want to thank you on behalf of the 300th Anniversary Committee, and of course I know that the Easton Select Board feels the same way, that they consider you folks to be a valuable tool here in the town of Easton. And we also want Comcast and Verizon to know that the money that they contribute to the cause is money well spent. They got programs going on every day of the week. That's 7 days a week. And it's important. How many stations do you have, and what are the numbers that people seem to always ask for?
Well, we have 4 channels. We have our public channel for anybody who's making their own shows or for local community events, and that's Comcast 9, Verizon 22. We have our education channel, so that's anything from the school system. We have our government channel, so that's government meetings and anything specific to town government. And we have our HD channel, which we call Essentials, and that's got its own mix of programming, including the news and, as I mentioned, community forum programs like that.
That's terrific. Well, Kim and also Adam, on behalf of the Tricentennial Committee, we just don't want to tell people to make a donation. We want to set an example for all the events that you're covering. We would like to donate $1,000 to ECAT, Easton Community Access Television, as a show of good faith for all the events that you folks are covering. So that check will be in the mail from the committee. We could not get the word out without you folks giving us some assistance, and we just want you to know that we appreciate it.
Well, we're very grateful, and we're very impressed with the work that you've done into making this tricentennial happen.
It's been a fun experience. I know you've heard my talks a number of times, and some of it's repetitious, but you kind of have to do that to get the word out. But tell us, how do you feel about the studio? I've been to a bunch of different studios. Some are in schools, some are in separate buildings, but maybe we can talk about that. But first, we'll take another break. I'm Dave Clifton, hosting Service Matters here at ECAT Studio in the town of Easton, Massachusetts. They call it Easton Community Access Television. We'll be back after these important messages. How are we doing so far?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think.
We don't need to have a rehearsal? No. I thought this was a good opportunity to mention the donation. It might encourage someone else out there to do likewise.
Hopefully.
I know have you got the check yet?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Got it yesterday.
So,
Yeah.
But I thought that was something that doesn't have to be a secret.
No.
Especially if someone out there says, hey, they have a show they're covering or a year-round celebration. we have a show too, and we haven't donated. So let's see what happens, you know. I'm not sure if anyone from Connecticut's going to call you up and say, hey, I heard you on the radio.
Donation, yeah.
Okay, is there anything that you'd like to have me ask you, Kim, that you think should be mentioned? I know you weren't able to cover all the shows. We're happy that you have Service Matters on, but do you do youth sports as well, or just high school?
Rarely, when it's requested.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's.
Are there any major events that you cover in the town? Do you do the Lions Club Holiday Festival?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the
Maybe
parades.
you ought to mention that because Lions is a big thing in Easton.
Yeah. The holiday parades like Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
And maybe you could mention something to the audience that you can learn by doing
we
this.
have the middle school workshops.
Yeah.
So.
And there are people out there that may want to do a show, but they don't feel comfortable on camera. It's something they get used to. And maybe there are students out there that are getting a degree.
Film festival. We
in
should mention the film
broadcasting.
festival.
And they may be looking for an opportunity to do some volunteer work at a place like this, and just aren't aware that there's an invitation to follow through. It's free labor. Okay.
All right. Yep.
We're back for another segment of Service Matters. This is a program on WPRO out of Providence that spends a lot of time talking about good things that happen in local communities and towns or cities scattered throughout southern New England, which encompasses Connecticut, Massachusetts, and of course the entire state of Rhode Island, the Ocean State. And I know there are many people out there listening that might like to do a show on community access TV in their local town or city, but they feel uncomfortable that to be on camera. But that's things that you can learn.
Mm-hmm.
And by you going through the experience, you're going to open up some other doors. It's going to be very helpful to you. It may be a help to you in going for an interview sometime, that you'll feel comfortable in front of people. If you can do it on camera, or you can do it on the radio. It's something that I think young people ought to consider that. Maybe you don't have the time to go to a public speaking class, but to get involved in community television, it's going to give you some experience. Anything you'd like to add that you'd like to tell people out there about what I just said?
Well, like anybody, like we said before, that if they wanted a show, they can come in and they don't need to know the technical side. We can always teach them. So, and that goes in case not just anybody out of school, but even in school. Like we work with the high school TV class. They have their own talk show that they do weekly that we air on our station that they film at the school. Also, the middle school has a smaller studio, but they have their own little setup that they can do their own programming, and they have their after school club, and they've done little info promo videos, and it's just topics about like anti-bully, not littering, but they make like a 5-minute little thing, and we air that in between segments too. And then during the February vacation and April vacation, we invite the middle school students in the studio here, and they learn from the high school teacher and some of the staff how to put a show together. They've put together a TV show, they've done movies, and during the summer it was a mom that came up with the idea, but one of the middle school did a talent show, and her mom and her came in, and they had a week long, and invited people, not just from Easton. It's called Easton's Got Talent, but we've had contestants from Rhode Island come up and try to compete in this talent search.
I certainly, a perfect example of knowing that Easton has talent, when I see all the volunteers that have come forward for the 300th anniversary, sharing their time, their talent, their ideas, their resources. What were you going to say, Kim?
Well, I'd like to add a few things about opportunities for students. For the High School Media Club, we fund that, which I think is worth mentioning. And then we also have the Hockomock Film Festival. So that is a high school film festival. It's open to the 14 towns in the Hockomock League. And they enter their films, and we have judges who work in the film industry who give them critiques. And we also have prizes and awards for that. So you can win up to $500 for your film, which I think is a great opportunity for students to sort of get into the industry and see what it's like and have a chance to really learn. And as Adam said, we have the February and April ECAT filmmaking workshops, and those are completely free. It's also free to enter the Hockomock Film Festival. And those workshops are open to any middle school age students. They don't have to be from the town of Easton.
That's terrific. And you know, I want to say out there to the folks that make the decision on funding for local community access TV stations, you have to know that, and I think here in Easton is a perfect example with ECAT being so active. I want those folks like Comcast and Verizon to understand that they not only bring people in the community together to produce shows and to be that communication tool, but they also bring to the living rooms of people who live in the town information about what's going on in the town. And I know that I think it's money well spent. I don't think we should be considering the possibility of cutting. I think we should be considering the possibility of adding funds so that they can do even more. I did mention earlier that lots of volunteers get involved and they're able to share their talent. And I ask myself that question, and I say that to Verizon as well as Comcast. If the town of Easton didn't have a community access TV station, how would we communicate with the town? How would we activate and keep volunteers involved in the communication tool? So I ask you to do what you can. At the same time, thank you for what you've contributed in the past to this local community access TV station, and consider doing what you can to make this continue. It's important to the town of Easton. How do you feel about what I just said?
We very much appreciate your support. We appreciate everyone who supported us. We have a lot of volunteers and sponsors who they mean the world to us, and we really value their contributions.
Now, who would people out there, whether they be senior adults or just parents out there, or maybe kids, if they want to get involved in doing something, it could be just doing a camera, it could be talent behind the microphone, who would they contact and how could they get involved?
Well, you can always call us. If you go to our website, eastoncat.org, that has all of the information. If you email info@eastoncat.org, then the full-time staff will all get your message. And we very much encourage anybody who's interested in learning technical skills or making a show or just being involved in their community to contact us.
Why don't you repeat that again?
So if you want to contact us, the best way to get more information is our website, eastoncat.org, or you can call us, or you can email us. The best email to reach us is info@eastoncat.org.
And Adam, I've seen you work in action at the studios. You do a terrific job of producing and making things happen. What kind of background did you have before you arrived here at ECAT?
Just not a typical normal background. Started with in high school doing broadcasting and went to college and got my associates and my bachelor's degree for that, and then ended up freelancing, and then started working here part-time, and also volunteering at the West Bridgewater cable access for a little while, and then working at part-time at Stonehill College too, helping out their sports broadcasting.
Yeah, that's where I first met you, as a matter of fact, when I was doing the play-by-play for Stonehill College basketball.
Yeah.
You were in West Bridgewater at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But today we have an opportunity to shout out a big thank you and congratulations to ECAT, Easton Community Access Television. And we're going to come back with our final wrap-up for this show. And we're going to give our guests an opportunity to give their final comments. We thank you so much for joining us. You're listening to WPRO, the voice of Southern New England.
Hi, I'm Ron Van Dam. I've been in radio for 3 decades now and have been doing a daily podcast-style show for a few years. But once a week, I come to the ECAT studio where they give me wine and cheese.
Hey, welcome to the program. How are you? Good to be with you. Hey, you're looking good today.
Thanks for being here. Make yourself comfortable. This won't take too long. It'll be a little bit painful for you, but in the long run, it's important for you to go through this. And I do a TV version of the podcast. I talk about what's going on in the world and in the area and give my opinions on things. That's both something to look forward to and also a warning. So tune in to see me move my mouth while I talk. Who knows? We might have something in common. Probably not, but you never know. Catch my show here, The Ron Van Dam Show, right here on ECAT.
It's The Ron Van Dam Show. Hold on tight. Things can get a bit weird if you like that sort of thing.
Here we go.
My name is Harrison Young, and after 13 years of talk show experience, I seek to bring you the best in interviews with some of the very best guests around, including, and here we are, experts.
I've seen thousands of demons actually come out of the mirror one time.
Wow. Musical guests and artists.
If I say how I feel, would you really listen?
And interesting characters of all types.
I threw that kid across the classroom. Look, he didn't try that ever again.
Wow. Join me at Topic Time on your Easton cable station anytime they want to play it. And from what I understand, that's quite a few times a day. And I love it.
Yeah. This is the life. Just relaxing by the beach. What could be better than this?
I've got an idea.
What?
I'd really like to find a forever home.
Forever home?
Yeah. Like Jack Ryan talks about on Easton News. A forever home. All those animals at the APCSM, they get forever homes. Why not us?
Listen, man, I hate to tell you this.
Tell me what? Come on, tell me. Look, I can take it. Look at me. Come on, tell me. I can take it. Come on.
We're not real.
What are you talking about? Of course we're real. Look at us. We're sitting here on the beach, on vacation, being served raw meat, mind you. We're having a great time. How are we not real? No, thank you. I'm good. I've had enough. I've had enough. Thank you. What are you talking about? Of course we're real.
Look, it's not that we're not real. We're just not living, breathing animals. You don't even have a mouth, dude.
Well, oh yeah? Well, your eyes are just plastic.
Right back at you.
You've ruined my vacation. I can't believe you've done this.
I mean, while we're at it, why do we need a vacation? It's not like you have a job.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. All right. You know what? I'm out of here.
Cubby, wait. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... Oh, well, you have to get it eventually.
If you'd like to get your hands on a cubby of your own, scan the QR code on your screen now.
Hi, I'm Jen from Fantasy Crafts. Turn your average household items into fun for the whole family. Let your imagination run wild. It was my decision. You be quiet over there. Fantasy Crafts playing Monday at 3 p.m., Wednesday at 1 p.m., only at ECAT.
Welcome back to the final segment of Service Matters. I'm Dave Clifton. I host the show and have for 15 years. And I purposely, on behalf of our sponsors, and the sponsor of this show happens to be Rotary District 7950. And they have been very generous. And the reason why is their motto is service above self. And they get very much involved in all the good things that happen in local communities. And it's a worldwide organization. And they thought it was a good idea to sponsor the show and have for the last 6 months. But today we're talking to ECAT representatives who have been working in their community, spreading the good word about what happens in their community. And I'm going to ask Kim Pincus if, as the executive director, any final comments that you'd like to make. And thank you so much for being on WPRO.
Well, thank you for having us, and thank you for contributing so much to the station yourself between Service Matters and Easton 300. I'd like to, thank everyone who's volunteered their time. One event that we didn't mention that we have is ECAT Day, and that's in the fall in October, and that is a day that we align with Community Media Day to really celebrate ECAT. And we have like a full day of performers, and, we've had karate demonstrations and cooking demonstrations and that sort of thing. So that's a fun event, a very family-friendly event if people are interested in something like that.
And I remember you folks gave out free ice cream and cold drinks, and the families enjoyed it very much. And I know there was a discussion about the possibility of doing that in conjunction with the 300th anniversary, something for you to think about, which could draw larger crowds. Any final comment from a guy who's the director of community media? And I know that you take an active role here at the studio, according to Kim.
Yeah, no, it's definitely where one station that has the capabilities, and I think the drive from the staff to put together programs and to showcase different aspects of the town. Like some community accesses don't have the funding or the staffing to cover everything. So we definitely have an opportunity to cover a lot in Easton. And sometimes it ventures out in Easton. We cover some things either right out of town in Brockton, or I think we've even gone to Providence for a show that wanted to do an interview. So we travel outside to showcase, but it's definitely to kind of bring different variety to something at a local aspect of it, not like a nationwide network.
One of the questions that someone did ask me prior to this show, it was a text message about what happens and whose decision is it to cut out something that you don't feel is appropriate. If someone made a mistake and said something that was inappropriate, is it the producer's job? Is it the station that cuts it out? I know most of your shows are taped, although you do a lot of live events as well. Kim, did you want to answer that?
Sure. I mean, I think one thing that's worth bringing up is we will never edit a government meeting. What you're getting is what happened at the meeting. If someone makes a show and they want something cut out, we'll of course cut it out for them. If we film you at a community event and you decide you don't want to be on the air, we'll cut that out. So we try to be accommodating of people.
That's a good question and a good answer. I think that answers the question that the party did ask, and I was interested myself on what you do. What you say on the radio sticks, although we can bleep out something that's inappropriate that we don't feel should be announced, especially on my show, because I only want to talk about the good things. Yes, I can push a red button if I think something's inappropriate. I don't happen to have that red button with me today, so we'll keep everything focused. But I want to take this opportunity to thank you both for being on the show. You have enough to worry about with your own TV productions. But I thought this was a good opportunity to not only say thank you very much for the good things that you do, but at the same time encourage other people to take advantage of the local community access TV station, regardless of where it is here in southern New England. Most communities have them, and I hope that they keep it positive. I think it's a great communication tool. And that's going to wrap it up for today's show. A big thank you and shout out to Kim Pincus, the Executive Director of ECAT in Easton, Massachusetts, and Adam Carreiro, Director of Community Media. You folks got a nice team, and you got lots of folks that give their time and talent to be with you to make things happen. That's going to wrap up our show for today. I'm Dave Clifton. I say to each and every one out there, go forth to serve. Do it with a smile on your face. And if you're going to do something good to help someone out, I hope that you'll consider doing it with the dignity that it deserves. Thank you for joining us. This cablecast and broadcast has been a production of ECAT in Easton, Massachusetts, and of course WPRO in Providence. Thank you. Have a terrific weekend.